content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome, everyone. This is Jania Butler with the New American Perspective. We are here. Donald Trump, guilty on all 34 counts. We had to come in today to talk about it. Donald Trump, guilty, 34 counts. How do you feel, America? How do you feel, world? Did you feel this at home? Okay, so we know for sure that Michael Cohen is feeling good right now in the process, right? He's feeling good. He's laughing and joking and hoping. But the process will be appealed. So I want to know, America, how do you feel? Log on with us, millenniumnews24.com, millenniumtv24.com. Hit me on my social media at Jania Butler. Let me know what you're thinking, because we've got to go from here. So now we still have an election coming up. And I think that the election coming up is really going to really throw us for a loop, because you got Biden on one hand. Biden's coming out talking about no man is above the law. Okay, Biden, then let's talk about your son, Hunter. Is he above the law or not? You just said it. So I believe that he just put his foot in the mouth. What do you think about that? Do you think that Biden is right for coming out? I mean, Trump would have did it, so I'm not even going to say that. But do you think that Biden is right for coming out and saying nobody is above the law and everybody must serve, and then tried to validate this criminal justice system? And that's where he went wrong with me, trying to validate this criminal justice system as of all the black and brown men that have been locked up for in America, wrongfully convicted, and you're going to sit up there and say your justice system is working when all these people are coming out of jail after doing 25 years. Guess what? Guess what for, people? For the crime bill that your president right now signed. He signed that crime bill that put us all in jail, put our families, disenfranchised our families, disenfranchised the black men in America. And now you're standing behind this man saying 4 more years or whatever you're saying. I don't know what you're saying. I know that they have America completely confused. Everybody's like, what kind of choices are these? But let's look at our choices. We have, on the one hand, we have President Biden, who's been in office for years on end. He even refers to himself as a skeleton in the office. He even refers to himself in crazy ways. So we've got President Biden and what he's talking about. And what is he talking about? No man is above the law. Let's talk about all the things. Morehouse College just gave him a doctorate degree. So I guess that's saying to the black people, if Morehouse College gives me a doctorate degree, then I'm good money, because you ain't black if you feel like voting for him, right? And what I want to say is I want to applaud the black folks and the people that are around Biden trying to stand him up and prop him up, right? Because they have done the job. Right? And so they have done the things that can get done, right? And so my fear in this whole process, my fear is that we are pushing ourselves away. Under Biden, I don't know about you, but I kind of went broke under Biden. I kind of, going the inflation and everything going on here in America, the inflation, the gas. He didn't care about those things. And now in New York City, we're about to drown with the congestion pricing. I have a problem with all these things. I'm going to continue to say America needs to stop eating its citizens. And now we have the first convicted president in the history of our presidency, in the history of anybody, first convicted president running for office. Now you see a lot of memes out there and they're talking about, listen, if a president can have a felony and run for office, I'm glad that this is happening because finally the people are waking up. The people who have felonies are now saying, so wait a minute, I could have ran for office? That's what they're saying right now. They're saying all this time, I'm diverting and moving away from this political system. And let me tell you, people, there's some people that doesn't want to get involved in the political system. And I understand why. I understand everything that we've gone through. And I understand why most people don't want to get involved with the political system. But listen here. All of the money is going to go through that. Do you know how much money, billions of dollars, are going to go over our heads? And we wonder why, we can't make deals in the 4 years. Let me tell you why Kamala Harris and Biden penciled themselves out. One thing, they didn't meet with Ice Cube. They did not meet with Ice Cube. So for them, you're out. You're out. Ice Cube came up with an agenda for Black America, and you didn't even meet with him. Oh, we'll meet with you after the election. And we're still going through this process. See, in America, we don't have to be the bottom class. We choose to be the bottom class at this point because we don't want to get involved in the political system. This is the last thing we have to do, people. I promise. We have to say, I am a citizen of the United States of America, and I owe my allegiance to America as America owes allegiance to me. And that means, like Brittany Griner, remember Brittany Griner was locked up over there in Russia, and she thought she was cute for a hot second, and she bought her little vape pen. For a vape pen, she did 9 months. It may have been a little bit more than that. It may have been a year, but I know that she did at least 9 months, but for a vape pen. So the America had to come get her out of jail. And that's what a citizen of the United States is really saying, okay, is that if I'm in trouble abroad, you're going to come get me. That's what me saying I'm a citizen is. But we have to take that here to the land, to the home of the brave. And I need to be a citizen here too. I need to know when you look at me, you don't violate my rights just because I'm a Black woman. You don't violate somebody's rights because they're just not a person of color, if they don't feel like you, or if it just doesn't feel right. I am a citizen. And that's where we need to start. First ask me, am I a citizen? Yes. So that means my temple comes with all of these rights. And I want America to work for me in that respect. Now, I don't know if the criminal justice system is working for everybody. I know for a fact that it's not. I know for a fact because I've known people who have gone to jail and haven't even gotten the due process. I know somebody that's in jail right now that has been there for, I think, 8 months, and they haven't even gotten the paperwork. That's here on Rikers Island. They haven't even gotten the paperwork. They've been going back and forth to jail. We're waiting for this. We're waiting for that. We're waiting for this discovery and all of this stuff. And it's passing the lines. So I don't want to hear that, Biden. I don't want to hear that the justice system is good and it's withstanding. No, it needs to be fixed. And so I'm glad that there's a convicted person running for office because we need to change this. We need to change how America is in session. Now, I feel bad for a lot of the things that's going on and everything like that. Because now, look, our date coming up, you have the Republican National Convention in July. You got the Democrats following that in Chicago. Republicans are in Wisconsin. The Democrats are in Chicago. Okay, the National Convention. So a few days before the Republican National Convention, the Teflon Don is going up for sentencing. So what are they going to do? So they're going to excite the American people. And I hate this Jedi mind trick, but they're going to excite the American people. They're going to get the American people all riled up. Oh, they're going to put them in jail. They're going to put them in jail. But ladies and gentlemen, I believe it's an felony. So this is a nonviolent offender. Let's use this to our advantage. This is a nonviolent offender. He's got plenty of money. It's an felony. They're trumping it up to make sure that if we want to vote for somebody outside of President Biden, that the stains are tainted. So, I mean, I don't know. The charges that Alvin Bragg just brought up were from 2016 when he was first running, right? So they decided to put this in. They decided to put this into place now that he's running again, and it's just so crazy because where are we with this? You know, are we allowing this to happen? Are we allowing this to go on? And let me just paint a picture for you. I want America, I want the world to look at this perspective with me as a Black woman, as a Black Republican. Let me say this. We have Alvin Bragg, Letitia James. We got Fannie Willis down in Georgia. You got all these Black people bringing up these charges against Trump, right? And you get them feeling like this is the day that we get our get back, right? And I can't say I don't understand where people are coming from. I'm not the type of person, but I understand where people are coming from. Just wanting that day in court to where the tables are turned, the pages are flipped. But look at how they got us set up. So the one guy that will actually help us, right? People think that he's not going to help us, and he's all about himself and he's all about white supremacy. That's the one thought, right? But I believe that he will do the job because he knows in America we need our independence and we need our freedom, and all you're doing is holding down the community. You're pigeonholing the community. You're holding the community down by their ankles and saying, fly, fly. Why are you not flying? Fly, fly. Hold the pigeon's legs and see if they can fly. They'll flap their wings and act like they're flying. But if you have your fists tightly around their ankles, they will not be able to go anywhere. They'll actually get weak legs. That's what you'll get. So what I'm saying is that we've got all of these Black folks in positions that said, we're going to convict this man. We're going to make sure that they're convicted. But doesn't that seem funny to you? And then the man that, we've got our differences. I think Black and white, we have our differences. But the man that I believe that will pull the right trigger for us, this is the man that you're doing it to. Not the man that already put 60% of Black men in jail, called the super predators, not him. Not doing it to him. You talking about the guy that talks a lot, right? He might say a couple things here and there, but listen, I think that America's a free country and you can say what you want. Okay? I do not think anybody is above the law, but I do think the law needs to be adjusted and changed in many ways. So what do you think? I'm asking you again, America. I'm asking you again, world. What do you think about this Donald Trump verdict? We know Michael Cohen. We know that he was lying. We know that he lied on the stand the first time. But Trump put his signature on those checks and then tried to say that he only knew this or he only knew that. But at the end of the day, they said guilty. Now, what he'll do is he'll appeal it. He'll appeal it, and he'll probably get a date passed I don't know, they're pushing everything up. So I don't want to say that I know when the appeal date will come or the appeal date will be, but I believe that he'll appeal it and it'll go closer to the election time, and they'll use it based on, whether Biden is winning or losing. But people, the part that we really need to see and the new American perspective that we need to hone in on, okay? The perspective that we need to look at is the simple fact that they are using this to dictate an election. If the American people want to vote in a certain way, let them vote in a certain way. If it's all about a simple vote. But it's not. They cannot manipulate a vote when the people are going in a direction that they don't want them to go in. And so now this is the part that scares me about the whole political process. And it scares me that we won't get involved in the political process because we need to weigh it down. Because the more they get to dictate to us, okay, well, your candidate for president is actually going to be locked up. But in America, somebody was thinking long ago that this might happen in America. This can go down. You could be a felon and run for office. You could be sitting in jail and run for office. So what does that say about us? What does that say about America? Right? So like I said, there's a bunch of memes online right now. Everybody is like, oh, how is he going to be a felon and run for it? That's been age old in place. I've been telling everybody for years, people. So we've got to continue this conversation. We've got to continue exactly what we're talking about, where we're going and what we're doing from here, because Donald Trump, guilty on all 34 counts. He said, okay, this is not over by far, right? And then you got Biden and everybody jumping up. And let's not talk about, as this is happening, last week we were in the Bronx, right? We were in the Bronx last week, rallying, for turning New York a red state. In New York, we need to go red. And I'm going to say that we need to go red because of this congestion pricing, because of these tickets, these 25 mile per hour tickets that they're sneaking up on you, the parking tickets that go up to $200 if you're not paying attention. Like, we don't have anything else to do, New York. We're going red, and that's it. That's it. If we go red, there'll be so much money pouring into our city that we need right now, right? I don't want to discriminate against anybody. I don't want to discriminate against a migrant coming across the border. I don't want to discriminate. I don't want to feel like that. But I know that when a migrant comes across the border, somebody in my community loses a job. Somebody in my community is not going to work tomorrow on the construction sites, okay? Because what's happened on the construction site? Now you got to be Spanish speaking because everybody is bringing their friends that speak Spanish to make sure they get the job. They're going to work faster. And listen, natural born Americans, we're going to have to step our game up. Okay, you can't run around and be lazy on the job no more, especially if you're in construction, because you got somebody that wants it better than you. And guess what? America is built on survival of the fittest. So truthfully, I take my hat off to all the Hispanics rushing the border when they got to open. They said, look, Biden, Harris in here. This is our chance. We got to get over there. Hey, listen, this will be known as their great migration. I'm not mad at that. Okay, I'm not mad at that. I applaud you for that. But here's my problem. My problem is that America hasn't taken care of their debt with us yet. We come to the table, we talk about reparations, they better put us under the table. We come to the table, we talk about all the stuff that we talk about, right? And there's nobody doing nothing. And the big thing, they did not meet with Ice Cube. I have a problem with that. I wanted to hear Ice Cube's agenda for a Black America. Agenda for a Black America. I wanted to hear that. But guess what? I bet you Kamala Harris and them are going to call them in 2 minutes, because guess what they did? They made a new coalition for black and brown folks, black voter turnout. I wonder why. It's because we were in the Bronx last week and they said, let's do something about this. But black folks, brown folks, colored folks, we have to know our worth. We have to know our worth at the ballot box. And I'm sorry, it cannot be strike, 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 strike Democrat. It cannot be. You cannot trust anyone. You know for a fact, trust no one. Oh, but the Democrats? I don't know about all of that. So we're saying with Trump, no surrender. He's got a sentencing date coming up. National convention in the Milwaukee. So they're not going to lock him up right before the convention. Again, they're not going to lock him up because it's an felony, but my homeboy said, shout out to Mr. Brown. My homeboy said the other day, he said, look, do you remember how he was talking to that judge? Oh my goodness. I do remember on how he was talking to the judge. However, I'm going to go with, nah, buddy. He's not going to lock him up. He's going to give him harsh sentencing. And then if they do lock him up and he wins the presidency, he'll pardon himself. And you know what? The homegirl Ashley said to me the other day, she said, look, there's a lot of people out here that need pardons, right? And so this is where we make the deal, people. This is where we put our needs on the table. And I'm not just talking about black and brown. I'm talking about everybody. This is how we have to look at the political process. Billions of dollars going through here because there's a lot going on. And you think about how hard the Democrats are about to go for the black vote, right? They look at what they're doing with Puffy. No Diddy. I'm not condoning anything that Diddy is saying, but that whole situation is a distraction. They're distracting the black people by killing off one of our own, right? And that's Puffy. He's the sacrifice. He got up there, I think, the last election, and he was saying that he had the black party, right? He was supporting the black party, and he was, building that whole thing out, and he was real vocal. Look at him in the next 4 years. He won't be saying nothing about nothing, right? He can't even hear himself think at this point because of all of the stuff that comes out. And then once he gets a little bit ahead, it's going. But I bet you November 5th, the day after the election, Wednesday, November 5th, I bet you Puffy, they're going to say, oh, we don't even want you anymore. Just kidding. They'll probably have him in a jail cell by that point. But we just got to look at everything around us, and we've got to look at this from the perspective, not black, not white, not Republican, not Democrat, but American. American. That's the way we have to look at this. Are we American? Can we come together for the sake of this American grain? But let's not be delusional when we do it. Don't tell me that this white man over here is different from that white man over there. And that this one is racist and this one is not. And I shouldn't talk to this one, but I should talk to this one. That is a horrible narrative, and we have to get away from that. And then now Dems, don't go too far on talking about this convicted felon that we got running for office. Because guess what? 60% of black men have been to jail. 60%. So now when you get up here killing a felon, oh, he can't do that because he's a felon. He can't do this because he's a felon. So what are you saying about our community then? What you really talking about? You talking about this or you talking about that? You talking about Republican or you talking about black? What we talking about? That was my little freestyle. How'd y'all like that? That was my little Jay-Z what we talking about freestyle. But what I'm saying ultimately is, let me just make sure that I'm covering what I'm covering. What are we going to do and where do we go from here? Now it looks like Suge Knight made the blueprint for how President Trump might need to talk. Collect calls with President Trump. Should come on every 15 minutes in little 15-minute intervals, and he give his 1-2. And I believe that no surrender with this president means that if he's sitting in a jail cell for 6 months, he's going to have his people get him on some type of satellite. If you can only hear his voice, he'll fight for that phone, and he will get on that phone. But I think that he's going all the way. What do y'all think? I know that we're going to go to a commercial soon. I think King Edwards is coming in on our second hour, our second half hour. So just know that it's about the Jedi mind trick. And again, I am upset that we have to look at it like this, that we are put in a place to where, do we want more inflation? Do we want lower gas? Do we want higher gas? Do we want this man that we know that has the remnants of dementia? Or do we want this man that has been impeached, 92 counts, indicted 92 times? He said more than Al Capone, has been bankrupt, has been all these things. How do we weigh this out? How do we weigh this out? I think what we do is we come in here and we create an American truce. And so the truce is not so much about the person that is in office, but the truce is about the actions that the person takes while in office. And so again, if everybody is above the law, President, I want to hear you talking about your son. I want to hear you talking about your son, Hunter. I want to hear you talking about Hillary. I'm still flabbergasted that she was able to take a hammer now, and bust up the computers, the servers, so we couldn't see no emails. And that wasn't against the law. Hush money is hush money. I don't know what the guy did. Hey, look, that was an easy place to catch him. And like I said, I'm upset because I'm scared that this is detrimental to Black folks. We get to choose who the next president is, and there's so many lies. There's so much deceit. There's so much so much money that they're gonna spend to convince us that it is taboo to talk to another person. But listen, people, if we don't balance this out, okay? If we do not balance out our objectives. So if we have Democrats over here, that's fine. I'm never saying, hey, change your viewpoint, hey, whatever. But I'm saying no more shame. Let me be who I want to be in America. Let me be that, okay? Let me be a Republican, a Black Republican. Let me work on behalf of our people, right? Don't just say, oh, well, it's Democratic or else. So what happens the 4 years that there is a Republican? We have no Black representation. We have no representation that people that look like us that are running the country. Is that what's going to happen? We can't do that. So all I'm saying to everyone is it's not so much black, white, and different. We got to know what we stand for. And I want to see our community change. I want to see our community have strong economic development. And if somebody has got to lead us in that direction, if the Democrats focus on programming, we focus on entrepreneurship. What's the big deal? We have to balance the floor. I'm a basketball player. So in basketball, you got to play defense and you got to play offense. You got to play both sides of the court. If you play one side, you'll lose. So what are we going to do from there? So I'm going to go to a break. And we're going to come back and we're going to discuss what happens next. Where do we go from here? We got one president, like I said, that's convicted felon, may go to jail, right? This is history in the making as we see it. You need to be documenting this because this is, unprecedented. And then you have another president who is, he's out to snacks. I don't know. I ain't black if I'm not voting for him. So I don't know where to go from here. But let's go to a commercial, and we'll be right back with the New American Perspective. Join me, Jania Butler, for the New American Perspective every Wednesday at 12 noon for an in-depth look of education, politics, economics, and entertainment from Republican and conservative views. The first of its kind on the Millennium News 24 and the Millennium TV 24 network. We will conceptualize and debate the rights and wrongs of the society, and together we will build the New American Perspective and share it with the rest of the world. You can tune in on all iOS and Android platforms, branded smart TVs, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. If you're around the world, Horizon Satellite. If you're in Europe or Australia, the Sky Network. Tune in to MillenniumNews24.com or MillenniumTV24.com. All social media, Millennium News 24. We're live and have the podcast at the same time. I am a citizen, and this is our perspective.
We good?
Yes, we are back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, the New American Perspective. We're here. I'm waiting for King Edwards to tap in. He should be tapping in with us any minute, and we can hear another perspective and another view. I know you just don't want to hear my view here at the New American Perspective, even though I have a lot. So while we're waiting for him, I'm going to assume that there's some people that are saying, listen, I'm not going to vote. And I heard a homeboy last night, urban politicians. Shout out to Ant, urban politicians. I watch you, brother man. And he said something really distinct. He said, I not voting is a statement too. It says a lot too. And he's right. He's right. I mean, you want everybody to participate, right? And I've always said to most people that talk about Black folks, I've always said that it's not that we don't want to vote. It just doesn't make any sense of how you're asking us to vote, how you're asking us to be a part of this. It doesn't make, any sense, right? And so because we're asked to vote, right? But see, if we don't vote, we don't count. Okay, that's why it doesn't count at the end of the day when you get on board, because hey, what are we talking about from there? And when you don't vote, you don't count. Okay, and in that process, what we're looking at is a situation where we have to get involved, right? And so let me tell you a little bit about my political journey. So if you don't know, I've worked for Reverend Jesse Jackson and the Rainbow Push in and out for 15 years now. And so Reverend Jackson, if you know, retired last year as the CEO of the Rainbow Push. And so I took my leave from them as well. I took my leave from them as well. And so now from there, I had to look at exactly what was happening. Okay. And when I got with Reverend Jackson, I wasn't very political. I'm a registered Republican since 2000. A young man, an older man, but I call him all young man, A.B. Brittmore. If anybody knows A.B. Brittmore, tell him to get at me. But let's say 20 years ago, 24 years ago, 2000, A.B. Brittmore told me, you can't do this Democratic thing. What do you mean? I thought that's what we were talking about. No. There's a bunch of tomfoolery going over in this Democratic Party. This is where you need to go, and this is where you need to be. And I started my journey from there. I was very, in and out, registered since 2000. And you know what I always got mad at? I always got mad that nobody along my journey ever asked me, was I a Republican or was I a Democrat? As if I didn't have a choice. I think that we have a choice in America. I think that I am a citizen, and that citizenship comes with a choice. It doesn't come with only me as a Black American. Only us as Black Americans are not able to choose who we want to vote for, or not able to choose whose party. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some things that could be better about both parties, the Republican Party included. There's some things that could be absolutely 100% better, right? But unless we get involved, how does it make it better? Do we really think in the Democratic Party, do we really think that we go, oh, well, Donald Trump is running. Let me see what type of Black agenda that he has. What kind of Black agenda can he have? So he's supposed to detail that he loves the Black community. He knows what to do with the Black community. No, Biden doesn't do that either. The Black community comes to him and says, President Biden, this is what you need to be doing for the Black community. And if you're not doing this, we're going to vote you out. That's what they're saying. Right? If you listen to the crypto conversation that Roland Martin was saying, no disrespect to Roland, but if you listen to the crypto conversation Roland Martin was having with the Democratic Party, y'all better get on your A game, because they coming for y'all. Roland has been screaming out to the Democratic Party even when they weren't right. And this is where I get mad at Roland. I get mad at Roland because even when they're not right, Roland will say, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not anything. I'm for who's right. But Roland was over there in the back room like this. Okay? That's what Roland was doing over there. And so now what we got to look at is where we go from here, right? And so if those of you, and I'm sure that Black men, right, we got to be careful out here because we don't want more Black men going to jail as a result of this. But Black men are the ones that are supporting President Trump. So again, how do we expect any Republican if we won't sit down and talk to them? So there's Republicans that rule in this country, and they rule over Black people too, but they end up putting the wrong people in the position to oversee the community because we in the community that know what to do won't talk. Oh, I ain't never talking. So he's going to be in office giving us the wrong stuff. It makes no sense, people. It makes no sense. So all I'm saying is let's balance the floor out. We're here every Wednesday on Millennium TV 24, Millennium News 24.com and the networks. We're here every Wednesday at 12 to talk about this new American perspective. I need to hear from you. If you think that you should be a guest on my show, tap in. If you think that you have a perspective that needs to be heard, tap in. If you're an entrepreneur that needs help with different things, tap in. Because we've got to live in the United States free. And so, like I was telling you, that I worked for Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., and there was a young man, Frank, passed away, rest in peace, Frank. Frank was Reverend's a political consultant. So I had to sit down with Frank. And Frank said, Jania, the only way that you, meaning hip hop, meaning the Black community, the Hispanic community, all kinds of communities, the only way your community will be able to change your lifestyle is if you vote. What? The only way our community is going to be able to change our lifestyle is if we vote and get involved in the political system. I said, oh my God. He must have told me this about 10 years ago, at least 10 or 12 years ago, something like that. And so, wow. My people hate to vote. They hate to vote. They don't want to get involved in the process. And that's when I said, how do I do this? Somebody has got to get out here and make us understand this. And I'm glad that we are in the place that we're in. And so what happened was I decided to run for office as a Republican, like I told you before, in a D85 Harlem district. And Harlem looks a mess. Harlem, you should be ashamed of yourself. I heard Mama Inez Dickens is out there raising hell about that seat now. The seat that Charlie Rangel held, I believe it was for about 50 years. It was supposed to be a black seat. Now Dominican American has it. And now guess what Harlem is looking like? Harlem is not looking like the Harlem Renaissance as old. In a little while, Harlem, you're going to have to be bilingual to work and live there. But I tried to tell you, right? But what happened when I ran for office is it started the conversation. It started the conversation of you don't have to be a Democrat to care about Black people. You don't have to be a Democrat to care about the issues that are around us. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businesswoman. I need to focus on low taxes, small government out of my business. Okay. I don't need the government. Child support. That's Democrats. Child support. All of that, suspending your license and, taking all your money. That's Democrats. We're voting for our lives to be like this. We're voting to be in chains. What I'm saying is my community is big on entrepreneurship. We need money in the businesses. That's what we need. I don't know what else to tell you. And if the money goes into the businesses, see, when you're in another community and you're a young professional coming up, graduate of college, and you get your nonprofit, you got people that's going to pour money into the nonprofit so they can help. They can help themselves, they can help their kids, they can help others, and they can help all these things because they got money pouring in. But now you go into the other side of the community, you go into the community that's not so pleasant, right? But you got people doing the same thing, but they're looking for money. So I think what we need to do, Tim Scott, we need to expand the Opportunity Zone program, okay, to not just include the deserted areas and areas where we want things to happen, but also include the entrepreneurs in that community because they can walk you through. Now you enrich, now you build up, because now as Opportunity Zone stands, we're still not getting the money. Let us in, America. We are citizens of the United States. You need us to be number one. Stop eating your community. Stop eating your citizens. And now let's get together and be this world power and beat everybody out of position that's not American. That's what we're talking about here. And as I'm rounding up my time, I'm going to tell you again, you can look at the New American Perspective on Millennium TV, 24news.com, on Millennium News 24.com. We got Roku, we got Amazon Fire, we got Apple TV, we got all branded smart TVs. Look up Millennium 24. You see the big 24 in the middle. You see us coming for you. We got Horizon Satellite if you're outside of the country. We got the Sky Network in Europe. What else do you want? We're doing it here. And at Jania Butler, at me on my Instagram, and let's talk about this. Let me know what you want me to bring up. Let me know what you want to talk about, right? Because I'm talking about, when I say Republican, I'm not just saying Trump. I'm talking about the people. I'm talking about our community. I'm talking about if it's okay for the LGBTQ plus community to be who they are and they don't have to be shamed, then I shouldn't be shamed as a Republican. I shouldn't be shamed because I'm a Black Republican. I shouldn't be targeted because I want America to go in another direction. It's not working. And it's especially not working in our communities, in our urban communities, in our hoods. We're being taken advantage of. We're eating each other. I can't take that, America. I can't take that, world. We live in the best country in the world. We have the best things happening and the best things going on. But if we don't get involved and if we don't lift our voice, and when we see injustices, and again, if the people who watch the news, you got to watch everybody. You can't just watch one perspective, because one group of people is talking one way and the other people are talking another way. And you got to, in order for us to get news, and it's a shame, in order for us to get news now, we got to listen to everybody. But just listen to the New American Perspective and we'll get it all right for you here today, because there's no bias here. I'm not biased. I'm going to be truthful to you about what I think and what's going on around us, okay? I'm going to be truthful with you, and I want you to be truthful with me, but you've got to talk back to me. You got to like our program. You got to share our program. You've got to get involved with us, and we will get involved with you. Tell us to come out to your events. Let's see what's going on. Let's hear the perspective. And most of all, New York, let's turn New York red. And I want to do this because I've been on the forefront of bringing the Black vote to the Republican Party. And don't get me wrong, I'm not just saying show up to the Republican Party and give away our vote. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, let's show up, and no matter who's in office, no matter who's where, no matter who's doing what, our community is taken care of. That we're us worrying about what's going on in the government, that the government is not shooting our people dead on the ground. The government is getting help for the officers that are having what I call the urban dilemma, the common mistasteful physical, emotional, or mental trauma. They're going through trauma. People see us and how we act, and they be like, bow, we're going to shoot you dead because we don't like the way you look. That's not okay. That's not okay for anybody. That's not okay for anybody's race. That you can't make that type of mistake on somebody's life. And don't tell me it's only a small percentage. That's not your job. You can't be judge, jury, and executioner. We got to get this right. And the first thing that we got to get right is I am a citizen of the United States of America. Do I need to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance? Because when I pledged this as a kid, over my heart, that was the promise that we were given to America. I pledge allegiance. That was how I grew up, to the United States of America. That's what we were saying, people. That's what we were saying. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America. So now America owes allegiance to us. But we got to play the game. And so as we're cutting out billions of dollars going through this election, Trump being convicted is not going to stop it, okay? 34 counts. I don't think too many of his people got on. I know my boy Othello out in Ohio, he said, you know what? After Trump's speech today, I'm with him more than ever. And Trump is sounding more American than ever. And Biden, he can't do that. So all I'm saying, good people, is don't get caught up in the fray. Do what's on your heart. Do what's in your heart, and we'll go from there. I salute you. I am a citizen, and we're out of here. I'll see you Wednesday at 12. Uh-oh, Nor. I'm going to go back out. I'm going to have another boot.